Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Royal number WTHBB 456 US 2060 NRP wide throw hinge, full mortise, standard weight, ball bearing, steel based hinge in a satin chrome finish. This is a wide throw hinge, first of all. You'll be able to tell that because it's wider than it is tall. And that's a dead giveaway that there's something unusual about it, obviously. Let's dissect the part number. WTH, that's going to be wide throw. BB in the part number stands for ball bearing. When you have a standard material thickness hinge like this, and this gauge is going to be 134 thousandths of an inch thick, there will be two bearing packets. 134 thousandths leaf thickness equals standard weight equals two bearing packets when you have a 5-knuckle hinge, and the WTHBB is indeed a 5-knuckle hinge. 456, now that means the size, that means it's 4.5 or 4.5 inch tall by 6 inch wide. Now it's important to know and to just adopt the convention. The height is the first dimension, always, on hinges like this. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with a 4x4 hinge, sure it doesn't matter, but if you get into a 4.5 by 6, it's important to know that the height's not 6. Not that that would really ever happen, but what could happen is 4.5 by 4. That's unusual. Here's the best example. 5 by 4.5. You've got hollow metal frames, 1 3/4 thick doors. What's the height of the hinge? 5 or 4.5 in a 5 by 4.5 inch hinge. Very crucial to know that you're dealing with 5 inch tall. Okay. The wide throw hinge, we'll talk why about that in a moment. Full mortise. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaf here that when the leaves are brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame, allowing you to achieve that small margin that would be existent between the edge of a door and the frame. Standard weight, we talked about that earlier. It's 134 thousandths of an inch leaf thickness. Ball bearing, steel base. This is made of steel and is in a satin chrome finish. Speaking of finish, you'll be able to order this in different finishes naturally, which would be the common, well, actually there's not a lot of options in terms of these, but your brass, satin brass, polished brass, satin bronze, antique bronze, polished chrome, and then satin chrome would be your options. This is an NRP hinge, non-removable pin. This client's application required it because his door swings out. This is a set screw. When you tighten the set screw, it will all but prevent you and practically make it impossible to drive the pin out from the bottom, or from the top for that matter. Because when the door is closed, you can't see that set screw at all. You can kind of see it, but you can't get to it. The crucial point is when you have an exterior door that swings out, you're always going to want non-removable hinge pins. Okay. If you don't, then it just really makes it really easy to get in the door with just an Allen wrench and anything to drive that pin out. Wide throw hinge. Why? This client, exterior door that swings out, therefore non-removable pin, has a condition where the door frame is set back in an additional certain amount. Not very much, but about 3/4 inch. The requirements of the door are that it swings 180 degrees. Not a problem for most door closers when they're templated to do so. However, if the door is physically limited by hitting the outside corner of the wall from going 180 degrees, you won't be able to accomplish that. Okay, so you've got to have a closer that'll do 180 degrees. That's not hard, but you got to make sure the door can physically move that far. And because in this 8-inch block wall, where the wall actually measures 7 5/8, I believe. Yeah, 7 5/8. You've got a 5 3/4 frame that's centered in on that dimension. So you're a little bit too far in for the door to get out and around that outside corner of the wall. And therefore, in an installation like that, you're going to need to move the vertical axis of pivoting, which would normally be about here, out to here, so that you can accomplish getting the door pivoting off further away from the face of the frame or the wall, however you'll want to determine that. So this, when the hinge is laid open, is going to give you an additional 1.5 inches when compared to a standard type of 4.5 by 4.5 hinge. So 6 inches is very common for a wide throw when you're dealing with that sort of frame versus wall condition. Okay, very common. Doesn't change the geometry of anything, doesn't affect how the door closes, doesn't make the latch or the locking style of the door hit the frame at all, doesn't change anything like that whatsoever, so nothing to be concerned with. But generally you'll have that instance where it's unusual where the door needs to go to 180 degrees and therefore require wide throw hinges, but a more common application for a wide throw is where you have something applied to the face of the wall. Let's say you've got stucco on the exterior of the wall, and as the door closes, you don't want the latch bolt to strike the treatment that's been done not only to the face of the wall, but the return side of the wall where the frame is installed. They probably applied it there as well and brought it to the face of the frame. So your latch bolt's going to be striking all that prematurely. So what you probably want to do is kick the door vertical axis of pivoting out a little bit, so that your strike plate, your latch bolt, is going to be making contact with the strike plate appropriately. Okay, and if you need a wide throw hinge, it's possible that you need an extended lip strike as well, of which, while Cal Royal can't help you with, there's other companies that we represent that certainly can. Another instance for a wide throw hinge could very likely be where the door is inset into the frame deeper than standard. In a hollow metal door and frame, if you stood on the pull side of the door, or almost any door really, you'll notice the door is moved in just a little bit, maybe 3/32 of an inch, a small amount. If you ran your hand over the face of the door in the frame, the door is in. Well, what if that dimension was 1 inch for whatever reason? You won't see it in a hollow metal door and frame, but you can certainly see it in a wood door installation. Very commonly you can see it there as well. So wide throw hinges can also be used there. I've also had an interesting condition where a client had multiple doors that he needed to have them fold against a wall. So imagine, very interesting way that they did this. New York City, very limited space on the sidewalk. Could not have a pair of doors that would swing out because I think they had, let's say, an 8-foot wide opening. Which would traditionally be 2 4-foot doors. Impossible. It blocked, the doors would overhang into the street. So what they did was they took 8 nominally 1-foot wide panels, and they took the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. The 2 inner ones they folded back. Okay. Those 2 panels then folded back. Then when those 3 were stacked on top of the face of the 4th, they could take that panel and fold it out. Incredibly ingenious the way that they laid all that out. And I didn't take dimensions on everything, and I should have. I just thought to myself, when I get back to the shop, I will lay out the dimensions in a drawing of what would be required. But you needed regular hinges, then you needed some wide throw hinges, then you needed bigger wide throw hinges, then you need really big wide throw hinges. And I thought, ingenious application of wide throw hinges. So I thought that was crucial in terms of a discovery of a new application for wide throw hinges. All right, now below this video there are some additional information. There is additional information regarding this hinge that we've not already discussed. 1224 metal screws and wood screws you're going to get. Okay. Images of the hinge below this video. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Cal Royal products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, along with a link to the full product catalog. I'm rather partial to Cal Royal in terms of being they're a company who imports builder's hardware from Asia. There's a lot of people who do that. A lot of companies like Cal Royal. What separates Cal Royal from others is, and why I've continued to do business with them into the 2-decade sort of range, is their customer service is responsive. They get the job done. They get the product out. They do so pleasantly. And it's a good quality item at a very reasonable cost as well. It comes back to customer service. If they didn't support the product, if they weren't responsive with tracking numbers, estimated ship date requests, problem resolution, I just couldn't see them as a primary source for what is, in effect, easy material to get from multiple players. But they continue to earn my business and earn the fact that I'm making videos of their products moving forward. Any questions on the Cal Royal WTHBB 456 wide throw hinge from Cal Royal, or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.